Good morning, scholars. It is I, David, your mind mechanic. And on today's morning rush, I would like to talk about something that probably happens to most of us, at least once in a while, and that is waking up on the wrong side of the bed. I got distracted by a train. Okay, so waking up on the wrong side of the bed. I find that a lot of my patients, after talking to them, there's a lot of common things that people are either doing or not doing, and one of them relates to this, wrong side of the bed scenario. So, like I say, everybody has this every once in a while. You wake up and you just don't feel quite right. You feel a bit off. It happens, but a mistake that I see that people make is. And I'm not saying that everybody has to do this. Sometimes it goes off fine if you don't. But again, when I'm talking about my patients, a mistake that a lot of people make is they just kind of shove this thing to the side. So they don't give it any regard. They don't think about it. They don't wonder why they're in the mood they're in. They don't even try and figure out what kind of mood they're in. And instead of, putting 5 seconds of some intentional thought into kind of pondering what's going on with them, instead of that, they stuff it down, they shove it aside, and I think what I can observe anyways a lot of times is just part of the pattern they're in of not always dealing with their thoughts and emotions as they ought to. Now, one of my solutions, or a partial solution to that, is, well, it's what I'm about to tell you here. So instead of doing what I just described, here's what I suggest to people that they try, and I do this myself. If I notice that I'm feeling a bit off, I actually spend a minute or two, probably not even a minute or two, maybe 30 seconds at most. I at least acknowledge that my mood's not, basically if I'm not in a good mood, I acknowledge that I'm not in a great mood. And then I try and take a few seconds and at least wonder, all right, well, what kind of mood am I in? Am I in a bad mood, an angry mood, a sad mood, anxious mood? I don't always come up with anything. Sometimes I'm like, well, I know my mood's off, and that's about all I got right now. So I get up and do my morning routine, especially like if I'm getting ready for work. So I get up, do my morning routine, and then a little bit before I'm going to go out the door, I kind of check in with myself again. I think, all right, well, what kind of mood am I in right now? And, if it's still the same, or if maybe I can put a name to it or something, something a little more concrete, then, well, I just feel off. But it doesn't matter if you can't come up with anything, solid. Just, again, acknowledging that you're feeling off, that by itself can be pretty important. And it's mainly just because, if we're doing that, we're not stuffing anything. We're acknowledging what's going on. And then what I do with that, sometimes I tell my wife, like if she's awake or awake enough, I'll tell her, I'll just say, hey, I'm in a bit of a mood. I'm going to try not to take it out on anybody today. Sometimes I do that with my coworkers. Everybody at my office is a therapist, so everybody's kind of used to this sort of thing. But I'll look at, first coworker I see, I'll be like, weird day, feeling off, try not to take it out on anyone. And here's the deal, whether it's my wife or my coworkers, they're my accountability people. And the deal here is when I tell them this, they're not required. In fact, I don't really want them to say or do anything. Usually just acknowledging that they heard me. That's sufficient. Now, the one thing that they can do is if I start to get a little snappy, that's me taking it out on people, which I said I was going to try not to do. So they can feel free to call me out on that. But I'm not looking for, unless, in that moment they happen to notice something that they think they could do that would be nice. But I don't want them to do anything. I'm just acknowledging that I got this thing going on. And that's a hard one for people. A lot of times, and I talk to people all the time about having a good support system. if you don't have a good support system, so if you don't have anyone that can be your accountability partner, this can be a weird thing. This can be hard. So there's the accountability partner thing. So there's just having a good support system. But again, wake up. If you're feeling off, acknowledge that you're off, at least to yourself. Check in with yourself a time or two before you get out the door. Remind yourself, again, if you don't have anybody you can do this with, at least say it to yourself. All right, I'm in a bit of a mood. I'm going to try not to take it out on anyone today. And then the trick here is to try not to take it out on anybody. Try and go out and behave in a positive manner. And I'm not telling anybody to put on a fake happy face, because I know that, in the end, that's not really a healthy thing to do, and it's kind of exhausting anyway. I'm not saying to let it spill out all over at the workplace either, but I am saying just try and behave in a positive manner. Try and still act positively, which is to say, don't put negative into the room. In spite of how you're feeling, at least, try and avoid doing that. And that's it. Give it a go. If you happen to have this experience, let me know how it goes. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to email me, ytmindmechanic@gmail.com. I've got my social media links below, and don't forget to subscribe.